Hey everybody, Ginger Hacker here. So excited to have you back on the channel, and let's get into this next video. But before we start, I'm so excited to say that we do have a sponsor this month for our video, so let's hear what they have to say. If you're serious about breaking the tech, even with zero experience, you gotta check out the IT Career Accelerator. It's the #1 community built for aspiring IT professionals, backed with real guidance from industry pros who've been exactly where you are. You'll get one-on-one mentorship, proven resume templates, interview scripts, live career workshops, and a private forum where you can get your questions answered in real time. No endless guessing, no months of trial and error, just a clear roadmap for your first IT job or your next promotion. If you're ready to finally land that you're hired email, head over to itcareeraccelerator.com and join the community that's helping people break in the tech every single day. Check the link below. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew. So excited to have on our channel Geetansh, which he's going to hopefully correct me with the horrible pronunciation I've been trying to say for the last 5 minutes as he's been coaching me to say his name correctly. And I'm so excited to have him on the channel. We have gone back now probably just under a year of going back and forth on communication. We actually met through my Continuum Con giveaway, where he placed 3rd place, I believe, if I'm correct, on the CTF.
4th place.
4th place. You're 3rd place in my heart. But he placed 4th place on the CTF, and so I reached out to him because I thought that was still fantastic of where he placed. And we've kind of stayed in touch since. He was actually one of my team members for the Holmes CTF for Hack the Box. And so glad to have you on the channel, and I'm going to pass it to you for a short introduction.
Hi everyone, I'm Geetansh Aditya. I'm a malware analyst and a SOC enthusiast, and I'm a cybersecurity student at Alliance University in Bangalore. So I started my learning journey as a web developer. I was started with Python, and later I shifted to network researching. I learned about zero trust and many more things. But then finally last year November, I decided to take it on to the next step, and I started my first Nmap, and I started learning through it. I used TryHackMe and many more things. I practiced through CTFs. I was interested in reverse engineering because it sounded cool at the first, and later on, I deep dive into it. So, and later now it has become a malware analysis skill for me. I met Andrew through Continuum Con, and now we've been in touch ever since, as he told. But what's the great thing about Continuum Con for me was it gave me an interest towards the blue teaming side, which I never had. And now I am working towards the blue teaming field. And apart from my cyber life, I like to play badminton a lot. So that's about me.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad I finally got to pull you on the channel. This has been a long time coming as we've been playing phone tag, obviously with the time difference as well, you being in India and me being back in here in the US. But no, first question is always I like to ask folks that you kind of already hit on, but as we're growing up and as you're still getting through college, what kind of made you choose cybersecurity as your degree, or what kind of got you interested into cyber?
The most typical answer which you will get from me is that sounded cool, cybersecurity. But when we talk about why I chose it, when I was learning through my web development, there was a critical bug which caused one of my apps to not able to work properly because the bug was discovered, and then it was later patched. That made me realize, okay, then who discovered the bug? What was the cause of it? Why is it mentioned as critical? So that was the first time when I decided that, okay, let's deep dive into it. And later on, a friend of mine showed me reverse engineering skill of this. So I got interested a little more. And that kind of interest building, that kind of induction through different people, getting to know the community. When we talk in Discord, that made me lean towards the cybersecurity. And especially towards the red teaming field. That how they bypass each and everything, how they bypass the area, and how I can do it. But recently, as I told, that I'm also looking towards the blue teaming. So there's too much into the cybersecurity that you cannot grasp. That's the thing. That's why the more challenging it gets, the more excited it gets me. For me, it's the challenge of cybersecurity. I'm in this field, and being technical towards it is my kind of aim, a passion for it.
Well, I
So,
know you and I have talked a little bit throughout the few months too, and we're not going to demo it today, but I mean, like, I know you've crafted, not to be malicious, but like as an more or less a proof of concept, a pretty cool kind of piece of item software that can actually bypass some like antiviruses. And it's not the sense of, and this is where the ethical hacker hack gets to come on, where it's like, sometimes with us making Frankensteins and monsters to like do these things isn't to cause chaos. It's to show, hey, this is something that could bypass this that now we need to fix and patch. And I don't know if you'd be willing to kind of maybe do like a quick high or kind of summarized version of that. Cause I know you and I talked before the video that we'll probably do a follow on video of this, but can you kind of talk about that, like that program you kind of made, and like how maybe in like on a short bluff of how it bypassed like Microsoft Defender, for example?
so actually, the project is Ghost Forge. So I was not able to find the name, so I just asked ChatGPT to name it. So that's the thing. So Ghost Forge is one of my earlier projects, which was my first payload development project. I was actually able to bypass Windows Defender by just tampering the PE header files. Tampering those PE header files was actually a lot of manual labor. I did trial and error so many times, and then I failed. Okay, that it is still not working. I made a script to loop through the entire addresses, and okay, let's just brute force it. And that's how I actually got the addresses. Okay, the address is here. That's where I have to put in the P header template.
Okay.
So I made that was actually a very simple project, but it's basically a loader, and you try to put the raw shellcode in it, and the loader is actually bypassing the Windows Defender by PE tempering,
Mm.
and you can store the payload in the .rstr header file header and the P headers. So that was about that project, and that was because of my first project. It seems very simple now to develop. What I have learned over these years is that all of the EDRs and AVs have major problem with LOTL and BYOL. So actually, LOTL is living off the land binary.
Yep.
And BYOL is bring your own land. These two concepts, which can be used to bypass any malwares, to bypass any EDRs, antiviruses, anything. And I actually did a very small program which can exfiltrate the browser data, and just 20 line of PowerShell code. And the detection was 0 on virus total, which was shocking for me because everything I used was very simple, very, very simple. There are major flaws in the security for it.
I'm excited for the follow up because you and I've seen it when we last talked, and I thought it was still a really cool kind of project. But a next follow up question I have for you that we always ask folks on the channel is, and you're in the midst of the education piece of it, so I'm still kind of curious to hear your thoughts. So you hear education, experience, and certifications are the three things you kind of need to break into this field and to kind of get your first role. Where do you rank the three when it comes into what do you think is the most important thing to have and why?
Okay, so the three things you mentioned: education, certification, and
Experience, like hands-on experience
yeah.
doing this stuff.
So I'll rank it as hands-on experience, certification, and last the education. I would actually give you example for it. That's directly from my college, and that's same for every other college. That when you're learning, they have so many different courses that are actually not building you up. And even if the courses are there, that's not taught properly. That's the issue. The syllabus is very old. You kind of not even want to participate in the syllabus. That's the thing. It's very old, and you need the newer stuff now. When you're, especially when you're in cybersecurity or even in your AI or any other field, you need to be updated. And when we are talking about computer science, they're not updating the course for like, I think, decade now.
Yeah,
So
you're
that was one of the problems.
you're spot on. I think even with some colleges here in the States, it's that's the same issue and struggle we get from some students is like, hey, that they're teaching old material. And it's like, and I know that like within the cybersecurity industry, I mean, like even certifications change and update every about 2-3 years or 18 months, even sometimes. And even after the update, once it goes into effect after 18 months, it's already changing again, and they're prepping for the next version of the exam or the stuff moving forward. And I think there are some colleges here in I think across everywhere, honestly, across the world, that it's a hard industry and a subject to stay up to date in, unless you're in like a very specific niche or program where it's like the instructors are teaching more off the hip than off the syllabus, where sometimes they follow the syllabus, air quotes, but they can still incorporate more up-to-date nuances that are occurring like in the last 3 to 6 months. And it's those live examples and conversations, I think, that are what really get students a good grasp on this industry. So, but yeah, you're spot on, because I think that's the same order I place it as well. And it's not to bash education. I think education's important. There's a foundational baseline, I think, of being able to say you committed to X amount of years to get a degree could be important.
Yeah.
But I think, as you mentioned before, that hands-on experience of just showing you know how to do said aspect of a tool, malware analysis, report writing, log analysis, it's one thing to write a paper about it, but it's another thing to actually do it. So, spot on. Well,
Hands-on experience, in my opinion, hands-on experience is the first read, because th- you have to figure out everything yourself. There is no direct guidance for it. There is no structure. Certifications have the material that there is a structure, but when you are in the real world, there is no fixed structure. When you are trying to develop anything, when you are trying to find a bug, there is no structure for it. So hands-on experience is the first thing to go for it, and the next is, yes, certification, because some of the skills like OSTP, I've seen it that OSCP covers a lot of material. So that makes you learn towards it, which normally I wouldn't do, but for the certification, I would do.
yes.
So I'm currently taking one of the certification for Active Directory from Cyber Warfare Lab. So
Nice.
that is one.
No, very cool. Well, that actually bleeds into our next question, I think, pretty well. So when we say hands-on experience, obviously, one great way to do that is by, as we talked about previously on this call, like capture the flags. So doing those challenges, everything as well, is a great thing to get in. You get a process that you're not familiar with. It's a brand new thing that people stand up. They're usually relatively new labs. Sometimes they can be refurbished ones if it's like a previous lab that they're just respinning back up. But yourself and I, we were on the Hack the Box Sherlock CTF this going around. And I know you were a rock star and slammed one of our malware analysis rooms out of the park doing that forensics. Can you kind of maybe explain in your own words why and how CTFs can kind of help probably like re-solidify that aspect of like, you know what you're doing hands-on, but then also kind of like the cool benefits of getting to do that, whether by yourself or within as a team?
When you try to do hands-on, that is actually like getting your hands dirty, because just like knowing the theory is not going to help you enough. You have to get to the field, and CTFs are the best playground for it. As we mentioned, the payload, which was the Holmes challenge, which I did, my first intuition was, okay, what can I do for it? I saw file.pdb, I saw exe file, and okay, what could it be? So .pdb file, okay, I thought, okay, it must be from Visual Studio Code framework, Let's do a little bit analysis. I just did the code review, and that comes from my reverse engineering skills, which I learned from the past 1 year, which I've honed it, and which I'm proud of. That one skill is reverse engineering. I immediately checked the question. Okay, this is the OLE32.dll. This is the COM library. So that was actually easy for me. And the only thing, actually, we would have been one of the first teams to do it. Just the only reason why we could not solve the last flag was because I was on my college Wi-Fi and my mobile internet was not catch. Else it would have been much faster. So that's one thing. But being a part of the team, that actually helped to solve the last problem, which was the memory analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And I solved about 6 flags of it, but finally someone else, I think it was Jason Sliber, who took uh, charge of it, and he completed the flags. So that's the thing about being in a team. I couldn't have done it alone, but he provided me with some guidance that there is a DNF mask, and when we talked about it, it was easier to do. And okay, I finally reached to the point.
Yeah, I think
Especially, I was actually impressed by the forensic skills by others because there was one enduring echo, which was a very vast challenge, and you have to search through things. So that actually made me understand, okay, this is how the professional team works. Being in a team actually helped me about it. When we are talking about your hands-on experience, so you have to have a lot of practice. Malware analysis, log analysis, you have to understand the each part of it as fast as you can. You can use the AI. I'm not against the AI, but then again, when you're using the AI, you will not actually learn, and AI can only do so far.
Yep.
I've learned that.
Exactly. Yep.
AI can only do so far. It can't help you in the long run. Because yesterday, I'll just explain you about yesterday. I was setting up my stock lab. I got an error which I could not understand at all. When I tried to search for it in Google, I couldn't directly find it. I'd search for it in Chat GPT, Gemini, everything. I couldn't directly find it. So I started seeing each and every part of what I've done again. The manual, that's the manual labor. If you have not understood the manual work, then ChatGPT and Gemini is a shortcut. But if you know how to do manual work, you will definitely get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why I was not able to uh, set up my Elastic agent were because it was in a private VPC, and that was how my Elastic search was also configured.
Okay.
And this actually simple, but AI could not figure it out. That's the thing. So getting your hands on is very important in the field, in every field actually.
Yeah, and I think you're right. AI has its part in, I think, the future on what folks need to be able to use AI for to help with maybe like repetitive pieces of like an analysis. But at the end of the day, I mean, like you still have to put your hands in the spaghetti and like find the meatball. It's like maybe a horrible analogy, but it's just like you still can't, I think, fully trust AI on some projects, and the hallucinations and just not providing the right information, or the extra weird comments will add into a code or some type of script. It's like, yeah, use this. And like, then you look it up, like, no, that's horribly wrong. And that's completely vulnerable. And then it's like, okay, we'll just comment it out. I'm like, that's not how you solve it. No, you can't just comment out the bad part and still say it's good. But no, I think like you mentioned, like AI has parts of reasoning of where they could come into a team. And yeah, same thing. I think everyone on our team was able to solve a flag, and we actually 100%ed the whole course, or the whole
Yeah.
whole pipeline of hack the boxes Sherlock CTF, which was pretty cool. We weren't number one, but we still completed all the challenges, that's pretty awesome to say, to 100 it out. And yeah, man, I think that's fantastic. Now, one next question I have, and this kind of comes into having an amazing sponsor for this video today, which is the Bearded IT Dad IT Career Accelerator. Finding and having mentorship and knowing where to go to navigate within this kind of environment on breaking into cyber. So I know with the IT Career Accelerator, it opens you up into resume reviews, mentors, coaches, allowing you to connect with the community that Dakota has built and made to help kind of open people up across all walks of life to break into cybersecurity. And that can come with private YouTube videos, coaching, mentorship. What's a way that you'd recommend folks to either find a mentor or find and connect to folks trying to break into cyber to open up their network?
That's actually a very big concern of mine for others, because nowadays what happens is a lot of the people are only asking things to ChatGPT, so people are not opening up. And I think a few years ago, if you visit Discord, you'll see a lot of conversation going on, which has decreased over the past few years, which I have seen from my experience. So the reason for how to connect, so and how to find a mentor. is you have to talk to people. You have to get to know them. You have to ask the questions, not to the AI, but to the actual people who have done it. And don't feel shy about it. Don't feel guilty about it. That, okay, I'm asking a stupid question. Because a lot of the time, even the stupid questions make the biggest sense that you can ever imagine. And that was actually my problem when I was in first year. When I tried to ask question, that, okay, how should I ask? How should I ask it? How should I ask it? That was the question in my mind first.
Yeah.
What the other will think. So now it's much better. I don't have to think about it. I know, I'm sure that my question is right. My question is legit. And but when you are starting, that's a major concern, that what if my question is very stupid? I had to ask questions. That's not a problem. Even if it's stupid, the other person will entertain it. That's the thing about the community. And that, like, you have a ginger hacker community, and a lot of the people are ready to help them. I asked about the burp. There was a burp configuration which I wanted to clear things out about burp scanner, and I asked it in the Ginger software help, and that was actually helpful because someone contacted me, and okay, we
Oh,
were able
cool.
to figure it out.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That makes me feel happy. Yay. And I think you're 100% right. I think with AI came this whole step back of the communication piece of Discords, Reddit, face-to-face, local meetups. Because now it's like, well, I can ask ChatGPT, I can ask Gemini, I can ask whatever large language model you want to name, and it's going to skim everywhere and give me answers. But just like you mentioned before with your home lab trying to set up Elastic, you were reaching out to AI and AI didn't know. And you have to do more additional research and diving. And that's important. And I think another thing too is, like, just like you said, like the no stupid questions. It's actually at DEF CON this last year with Josh Mason over at Synac with New Village. We literally had a table that was no stupid questions, was the name of the table, where anyone could ask any question they wanted to about cyber. And there's no judgment. Because I think that's a huge thing that you're spot on right, where people are afraid to be vulnerable and to be like, well, I don't want to seem like I'm the stupidest person in the room because I don't know this question or I don't know the answer to this. And I've realized with a lot of the things I've gone through with meetings and talking to C-suite and going to these courses and classes and talking to folks, someone will say something and I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so I'll raise my hand and I'll ask the question. And then, like, at the end of a lecture, at the end of that meeting, I'll see like 3 or 4 people, we're so glad you asked that question because we didn't know what that meant. I'm like, yeah, I have no shame. I have no shame on asking stupid questions because I'm like, if I have this question, there has to be at least one other person in this room or on this call or on this Discord community that could be thinking about the same thing, but they're just nervous to ask. Because I think you're right. I think there's some slight scaredness of like, oh, well, people are going to think I don't know what I'm talking about or that I'm not good at my job because you don't know what that means. It's like, no, I don't. Doesn't mean I'm a bad analyst. Doesn't mean I'm a bad pen tester. Doesn't mean I'm a bad forensic analysis. Just means I didn't know something. The day that people think that they know everything is the day I'm going to tell them that they're not the smartest person in the room and we're always learning. And yourself, myself, folks across this network, the John Hammonds, the Network Chucks, they find stuff every day that they didn't know, and then they share it with the community. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've been definitely still seeing a lot of this last few years is gatekeeping has, thank goodnessly, I think been either destroyed, broken down, and the amount of openness that a lot of folks are doing within this community are amazing. And it's just by simply doing that is by asking the questions. I always tell people if they don't ask, they don't get. If you don't ask about a concept or something that we're talking about in this call, what's Hack the Box? What's the Sherlock CTF? What do you mean Ghost? What was the name of the Ghost Writer?
Ghost Forge.
Ghost Forge. What do you mean? What's Ghost Forge? Look in GitHub, look it up. It's there. It's pretty cool. We'll drop that GitHub name at the end of the call. But yeah, like, ask us. Drop a comment below. Say, hey, what were you guys talking about? Or hey, what was that cool resource? We're happy to share. There's nothing we're trying to hide from anybody that's going to put us above a higher pedestal. So, well, fantastic, man. I got 2 more questions for you to wrap up this call, but huge thank you for coming on. And I don't know if I ever were able to get you, but if not, we do need to link you up with some awesome Ginger Hacker swag. for coming onto the channel, obviously. And that's either going to be a hoodie or a shirt. It's going to be your choice. We'll drop that link to you. And once we're done, as a huge thank you for coming on, obviously. But the next question I have for you is, when you're not doing cybersecurity, when you're not doing school, what do you like to do for fun? What are you doing when you're trying to unwind and relax?
So for that relaxation, my go-to is watching movies like thriller or maybe action. But I'm also interested in one of the movies like Ford versus Ferrari, there is Minority Report, and many more. So I explored the movies field a little, and apart from that, I like to take walks.
Nice.
Taking a walk to relax your brain, that's one thing. And reading the books is one of my favorite. And because I read the books to improve myself so that I don't burn out, that's the major
Yes.
part.
Yes.
So
No.
reading the book, having to practice it. Okay, that the next step I'll have to take very carefully because the burnout is a major problem. I have faced it a lot of time. That after the burnout, it takes about a lot of time to recover from it. That once you are demotivated, which happened to me last year, not last year, sorry, 2 years back, when I was learning Python, and I was so frustrated by Python that I thought, okay, let's give it up. I stepped back from the computer for an entire month. So that was my most unproductive month, and I never wanted to happen again.
Yeah.
So leaning towards the book, I would actually recommend the book. One is, if you're starting the book career, like if you've not read much books, then Atomic Habit is my first go-to book.
Yep, it's a good book.
And the second is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yep, also an amazing book.
Yeah. These 2 books I would like to mention to help you from burnout. And I started playing badminton recently again. I used to play so that's what I do when I'm not doing cyber.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, I think I actually have a video coming out too that will probably drop before this one on cybersecurity burnout, and it's very real, and it's no matter, and it's in every industry, obviously, but for cyber, it's definitely, it can be, I think, a little bit more prominent on depending on the job role you do and how you handle stress. So it's like same exactly like finding ways to de-stress and unplug sometimes. And sometimes the way people de-stress is they replug into video games or their own social stuff outside of cyber work, which I get. It's its own kind of like peace of mind when it's like maybe you're playing like, oh man, Star Moon Valley or something, or I can't remember some of the video games that are just like, or Minecraft. I just got into Minecraft this last month. Oh my God.
I actually watched that video.
I don't know how I've not done it sooner. So Rihanna Schultz, huge thank you for diving me into that, because yeah, that's its own type of horrible passion I've now gotten into of building out my world. And yeah, but burnout is so real where it's like getting to take that step back and relax is important and huge. And mentorship, like you said as well, is I think it's easier to find nowadays, but it's just like those that are not extroverted, chatty Cathys like myself, that are willing to kind of go out and chat and talk to people in the Discords, in local meetups, in their schools. It's hard. I totally understand. My challenge to you is to give yourself a monthly challenge to go talk to 3 people that in that month. And then give yourself maybe a challenge to do shake someone's hand, have another challenge to go to like a tech presentation, and set little challenges, nothing drastic. You don't have to shake someone's hand every single day, but just something small and minute where it's like you can start slowly breaking that barrier of that fear of meeting people or that fear of talking. Maybe you set a 2-month goal where, you know what, I'm going to go do a talk and present on some type of cool tech thing I learned or something I did, like for Toastmasters. And yeah, I think, or honestly, what we're doing right now, come hit me up, hit up my channel, and come talk about cyber. These are super fun, low-key hangouts for 30, 40 minutes where you just get to talk to me. You get a cool Ginger Hacker shirt at the end of the call. And we just get to hang out and talk about why you're choosing cybersecurity, what you're trying to do within cybersecurity, and your passion behind it. As I always mention to folks, at some point in time, I want to retire. The John Hammers of the world want to retire. The network chucks want to retire. And so if we're not leveling up our peers and our replacements, we have to work longer, and that's more tedious for me because I want to make sure I can retire on time. But this was so fun. I'm so glad I got to pull you back on this channel. This has been so many days coming. But the last question I have for you is, what would be your advice or last piece of advice for someone trying to break into cyber?
We have talked about this entire call. Try to be less dependent on something. For example, AI, just a platform like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me. Try to be independent about it. When I think about what my journey was, so that's actually my journey was all about. I never depended on just one thing. There are a lot of platforms. There is everything that's teaching you. The first thing which when you learn a coding or any skill, people say about a thing, a tutorial help. I think tutorial help that you have to get out of that loop because of the dependence which we have developed over time. But there are so many resources depend more on the text-based resource than the just video-based resource or a walkthrough. My advice for anyone breaking to the cyber is be passionate about it, learn it with heart. Don't just copy paste or don't just
Yep.
do it for the name's sake. You'll definitely get to love this field. I'm sure of it because it's a very challenging field. Every day there is something interesting. Every day there's something new. Cybersecurity is a very vast field and it's everywhere. So that's my advice to them.
Awesome. Well, everyone, this was so much fun. Please drop a like, a comment, subscribe if this is your first time on the channel. Drop a comment what your favorite part was. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode of Breaking into Cyber.